Hello and welcome back to Universal Laws with Kristy Sturdivant. We are finishing up the Law of Gender this month with something new that I have just kind of recently has come into my universe, and that is a sub-law called the Law of Gestation. Okay, so if you're like, what is a sub-law? Let me just give you a little brief rundown. I think I've discussed this all in the past, but a sub-law is kind of like a little subtext, little note underneath one of the big 12 laws, right? If we look at the 12 universal laws, I think of them as like the Olympians that sit on the main stage of Mount Olympus, and your sub-laws are like your minor gods. There's a ton of minor gods in Greek mythology, but only 12 big ones that really kind of, run the show. And so today we're going to be talking about a sub-law or a minor law called the Law of Gestation, which has never really come into my realm until very recently. And I thought it was a really interesting thing that I've been contemplating for the last week. And I thought it was a really good way to kind of make the whole concept of the masculine and feminine energy kind of make sense in a very practical term. Okay. Because the Law of Gestation, as you can imagine, it kind of basically states that everything in this realm has a gestation period, meaning there's like a timeline, a natural timeline that also flows with the law of rhythm, where things kind of like come into fruition or run its course before we move on to something else. So whether that be relationships or events or projects or whatever you want to say, everything has its natural like beginning and ending, right? It has this natural ebb and flow. And so I wanted to talk today about how I see this play out in a very practical sense, because sometimes these laws, especially the law of gender, it feels very theoretical. And like, okay, cool, that's great. How do I actually see that and apply that in my real every single day life? And I understand that. That's one of the reasons that I am constantly talking about these laws and contemplating them, because I want to make them more understandable for me and everyone else. So let's talk about the sub-law, the Law of Gestation, which is underneath the Law of Gender. Okay, so we are going to talk about it in terms of a project. That can either be a short-term project or a long-term project. I think it's easy for people to talk about it in a business sense because it's just a very easy thing to relate to, but I want it to have a very concrete beginning and ending. So I'm going to look at this as a book. We are going to talk about what it would be like to write a book, but imagine any kind of project that you are, going to be doing with this. And we are going to go through the process. Okay. So when you are out and you're driving around and you have somehow come up with this concept, like, yes, I want to write a book. That seems like something that would be kind of fun, a very fun exploratory, creative endeavor for me to do. Great. You open yourself up to the universe, okay? And you're just driving along, minding your own business, when you stop at a red light and bam, you get this like amazing idea. Like this plot comes into your conscious and you're like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Steven Spielberg should be directing this movie someday. But wait, it's not there yet. It's just a concept, okay? This is what it looks like on the masculine, energetic wave or field of a birth. You come up with this concept. It's like this seed is planted inside of you. It's amazing, right? Okay, so as this seed comes in for this plot and this story, you start thinking about it. And as you sit there and you contemplate it, you let your mind play around. What's the environment going to look like? What are these characters that I'm going to be diving into? What is the magic system that this world needs to make it really just pop? This is your feminine energy coming in during this birthing stage and kind of like fueling this this process along, right? It's like it's matching up with the masculine energy and it's saying, hey, this is a really great idea. Let's kind of add a little bit of something into it to make some magic happen, okay? This is your birthing process. Now, over the next couple of months, you hang out in that feminine energy of creativity. You map out everything. Things start to come in and it's very, very beautiful. Things, plot points, arcs, character descriptions, all of these really fun, exciting ideas continue to marinate, continue to grow. They are being held inside of your brain. The feminine energy holds this space for us to have these really beautiful, creative endeavors moving and growing inside of that. And during this time, you also start to kind of subconsciously think like, can I write a book? Am I capable of writing a book? This seems like a really big thing. So the feminine side also helps you kind of like retrain your subconscious. It kind of says, yes, you can absolutely do this. Yes, there's no reason to be afraid of this. Just kind of go after it. Look at all this fun thing that we're doing. We're creating this world and everything. And so this is when it comes, the feminine is all about the thoughts and the holding of the space. And this is where the masculine side comes back in during this gestation period, right? The feminine side is giving you all of these beautiful, beautiful ideas, kind of helping you reprogram your mind, telling you can do it. But the masculine side also has to come in. This masculine energy has to come in and it has to start taking those thoughts and those ideas and putting them onto paper in some way, right? Like you have to begin to actually take action. That's your masculine energy coming in and saying, okay, I got to write this down. Otherwise I'm going to forget. Oh my gosh, this arc for this character is just absolutely superb. Let's write this down. And the story begins to take shape in this physical realm. That's the masculine side, right? Like we're kind of working here in this beautiful gestation period. Now, after the feminine energy has been holding so much space for us to be creative and build this world, and it's growing bigger and bigger and bigger, it has to go out and be dumped into the masculine side. And you finally have your whole entire novel written. You have your first draft written, you've gone through your edits, you've sent it out to your parents and your friends, and they're like, yes, this is amazing. This is so good. Okay. Now we are ready to move into this birthing stage with this masculine and feminine energy. Okay. So after you have done all of the work, and the masculine side is like, look what I've done. We're ready to push this out into the world. You finally find a publisher or some place to put your story and you send it out into the world. Okay. It is now actually on the paper. It is out into the world. The masculine energy has birthed its part into the world. And the feminine energy is over here holding space still and saying, I'm going to nurture this. I'm going to wait and see when the timing is right to send this out into the world. The masculine has found this one. Is this the right time to send it to this publisher? Do we need to wait and send it to a couple more publishers? The birthing stage is in this scenario is like, well, I think this publisher might be really great for this particular story, but this agent over here says that I'm going to get a multi-million deal if I just hold off and, tweak it a little bit here. This is this birthing stage, right? This is this nice little combination of like, we are actually going to make this happen. We are going to push this out into the world. Let's make sure that the timing is right. Using our intuition, but also taking action so that we can actually get this out there. This is a very, very shortened version of how this could play out. But this is like this is what it looks like when we are talking about the law of gestation and how the masculine and feminine work together in order to create things in this reality. Okay, so everything has a natural gestation period. Otherwise, it kind of just dissolves, if you will, right? Like when women get pregnant with babies, like we are only pregnant for 9 months or 6 to 9 months, but there is a point when our bodies are like, can't hold this baby inside of us anymore. It has to come out. And that is with everything. That is law. That is how the masculine and feminine work together. Think of the masculine energy as this seed of planting something creative inside of our consciousness or wherever. And then the female holds space to let it grow, and that's the soil, right? It's giving it this nurturing endeavor to make it come out into reality. So I hope I explained that well. That's how I imagine this law of gestation coming into play, and I think it's a really good example of what the law of gender is all about, because it's really easy to talk about, oh, this is what the masculine feels like and this is what the feminine feels like, but to actually see it play out and to be able to visualize it, I think it's a really good way for us to kind of look at where we are in various areas of our life where we need to push forward, right? Like sometimes projects or ideas, they're not always going to pan out for us. Not everything that comes into our aura is really necessarily ours, but when things come into our aura that is ours, if we don't start taking action and start using both of these masculine and feminine energies to move it along and make something happen, then it's going to go away. If you've ever read the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, she talks about how that's what inspiration is. Inspiration comes into a lot of people's fields, and inspiration is kind of touching on different people and kind of the same idea and everything, but maybe some people are actually going to take action on it and bring it into reality, and some people are not going to. So it's a really interesting concept to explore and think about, but that is inspiration. And actually creating something that is actually the law of gender and the law of gestation in actual action, which I think is pretty cool. So I hope that is helpful for you today. This was really helpful for me to really kind of solidify what this law is all about. And it's kind of opened up a whole new perspective for me personally. So I wanted to share that with you. If it still is feeling a little bit theoretical, this is kind of how it can play out, but obviously it plays out in a lot of different ways. And so it's just something to think about over the next, couple of days after you listen to this. And that is all I have for you guys. And I'll catch you later. Bye.